Woman's Page. This afternoon's programme for women includes one of our profiles, well-known women in Bristol and district talking about their work, their homes, their interests. Today, it's the turn of Peggy Ann Wood, actress and, with her husband Ronald Russell, joint director of the Bristol Little Theatre. She's talking to Alan Melville.
Peggy Ann, do you ever find the fact that you are a woman a disadvantage in your job?
No, I don't really think so. I used to, and I think I'd like to be able to think so, but it's really the kind of excuse one gives to oneself. You see, I started producing only by mistake. I'd been acting for years, and then the war came along, and I suddenly found myself producing, in fact, entirely running a repertory company without any experience and any knowledge or really any aptitude for producing at all. And it was in the war, and the blitzes were on, and it was working under very difficult circumstances with actors being called up all the time and no scenery and no staff, and I really didn't know anything about it. I was awful. And we carried on, but I used to say to myself, oh, well, it's being difficult because I'm a woman, and, if I was a man, things would be different. But I don't think it was true. Looking back, I think you stand or fall by what you do.
Yes,
and if the few times you're producing really reasonably well, that's okay. But when you're producing badly, it's not because you're a woman or people don't like working for you because you're a woman. It's because you're not very good.
Exactly. I'm sorry to keep harking on the sort of sex angle. Mm-hmm. Do you find women, as a director, do you find women more or less amenable than men, actresses and actors?
It's awfully difficult, isn't it? I don't think it. You can really say, but I think possibly because I'm a woman, I'm sometimes more used to another woman.
Yes.
And so, in as much as in that sense that it's easier to see inside another woman's mind, so I'm possibly more helpful to an actress as opposed to an actor. But I don't think the thing of being a woman's got really very much to do with it.
No. You act, you appear a lot, as well as producing. Mm-hmm. On the occasions when you've got to produce yourself, are you capable, and this is the thing that I've always wondered, are you capable of standing outside yourself and seeing yourself as a performer and saying to yourself, oh, you're awful, or oh, you're getting it now? Can you do this?
I don't think you can produce yourself. I don't think it's possible. No. I think there are a few people like Olivia and Gielgud who are, are so brilliant that you can't compare them with anybody quite ordinary. And they manage to do it, but I can't do it at all. You're using a completely different set of values when you're directing from when you're acting, and you can't mix them. It's quite impossible. I have done it in early days, but I was terrible at it. You get so muddled up.
The theatre itself, Peggy Ann, as you said, is a honest-to-God commercial venture.
Yes.
What do you find the people of Bristol come in and pay that money at the box office, which is all important and not to be sneezed at? What do they come in most readily?
Well, I think they do like comedies. I'm glad to say. I love playing comedy. They do like comedies.
Do they come in for, I know the other week you were doing, as you very often do, or occasionally do when you can, you were doing a world premiere for new play.
Yes.
Do they come in for that?
Well, now that's difficult. They do if it's a musical, funnily enough, but they're a little bit slow sometimes with a new play. They have to kind of find out what it's about, but on the whole, yes, they do. We have, of course, a very regular audience that come always, but they like new plays, but they are a little bit more of a risk from a box office point of view than something obviously that's had a long run in London that they know and want to see.
They sort of wait until they find they've read or they find out about it.
Their friends have said about it.
Yeah. And a last question, Peggy Ann. Suppose in these days of things not being very good in the entertainment world, unemployment large and so on, suppose there's some young girl, and I bet there is, a lot of them in Bristol, who is absolutely dotty to go on the boards, stage struck like mad. What practical advice would you, as an experienced person in the theatre, give her?
Well, to somebody who is going on the stage, I should say 3 things. First of all, have another string to your bow. Have something that you can earn your living by in those dreary months when you're going to be out of work. And secondly, I should say take very good advice and get the very best training you can afford. And thirdly, see that your head's stuck well on your shoulders and it stays there. And to somebody who asks me whether they should go on the stage, I should, of course, like all theatre people, say no, don't. Do something else, be an amateur and enjoy it, but don't go on the professional stage. But if they came back and were absolutely determined to go on, I should say, well, if you're prepared to work very, very hard for very little money and not play any of the parts you think you're going to play, and not get to the top, and not to play in London, and not have any private life, and have your heart broken several times, and be prepared to be quite half your life out of work, I can only say, well, jolly good luck. I've been on the stage since I was 15, and I wouldn't swap my job for anybody's in the world.
Thank you very much indeed, Peggy Ann Wood.
Now, with completely new, mild, gentle fairy liquid, hands that do dishes can feel soft as your face. It's fairy green, so mild, so new, there's complexion mildness in these rich suds. Even the dishwater feels different, silky soft. It's an entirely new cleaning formula. Makes grease disappear without a trace. See, spotless, even before rinsing. How wonderful. The only washing up product with the famous fairy name for mildness.
Now hands that do dishes can feel soft as your face, soft as your face, with new fairy liquid.
Try it.
SWB